Have you ever wondered which American cars simply refused to die in the 1970s? In a decade marked by crises, innovation, and changes in the industry, some models earned a reputation for being unbreakable, tough as steel, and so reliable that they seem designed to survive the end of the world. Today, I bring you a special list made with passion, memory, and gasoline in the veins. We are going to relive the most reliable classic cars of the 1970s, the ones that still keep rolling today, defying time and mileage. If you love durable muscle cars, tough pickups, or SUVs with the soul of a warrior, this video is for you. And if you also believe they just do not build cars like they used to, hit the like button right now, subscribe to the channel, and join me on this journey full of history, engines, and emotion. Let's begin. 1972 Chevrolet Nova. Few cars reflect the spirit of American reliability in the 1970s as well as this one. It was not the flashiest, not the fastest, not the most luxurious. But if what you needed was a car that simply worked every day, that asked for nothing, and that took you from A to B for years without drama, this was your ideal companion. The Nova did not try to impress. It won you over with persistence by always being there. By 1972, the Nova was already in its third generation, and it had matured quietly. Chevrolet had chosen a simple, almost foolproof formula, a body with clean lines and no excess, a solid structure, and under the hood, the legendary 250 inline six, which over time earned a reputation for being nearly indestructible. This six-cylinder inline engine was a true warrior, smooth, reliable, easy to repair, and capable of enduring abuse that others could not. But it did not come alone. For those who wanted a bit more punch, Chevrolet also offered small block V8 versions like the 307 or the 350, delivering generous power without compromising durability. That combination of options allowed the Nova to fit just as well with a family mother as with a young enthusiast chasing the spirit of muscle cars. It was versatile, accessible, and honest. What is curious about the Nova is that it never had an aggressive marketing campaign. It did not need big slogans or movie appearances. Its reputation was born on the streets, in neighborhoods, at gas stations, and in workshops. It was the car that mechanics recommended with a smile, the one your neighbor had been driving for 10 years without even changing a spark plug, the one that kept running even after the odometer had gone full circle. And it was not just reliable mechanically. Its structure withstood bumps, rough treatment, and the passage of time with surprising dignity. Many Novas from that era are still on the road today, some with faded paint, but with a mechanical heart beating as if it were day one. That is its legacy. 1973 Dodge Dart. This car did not need exaggerated introductions. Its very presence on a street, in a workshop, or on a highway was enough to command respect. It was not the most modern or the most luxurious, but it was the most faithful. And it delivered on that promise year after year, mile after mile. In fact, 1973 was the year the Dart stopped being just an economical compact and became a legend of reliability. Visually, that year brought slight changes: a more squared grille, reinforced bumpers, and details aligned with new safety regulations. But the essence did not change, and that was exactly what its drivers valued. Because what made the Dart great was not visible, it was under the hood. The famous 225 cubic inch slant six engine, a masterpiece of American engineering. This slanted six-cylinder, initially designed to optimize engine bay space and lower the center of gravity, ended up gaining a reputation for being practically immortal. It could start in extreme weather, tolerate old oil, low-quality gasoline, and even mechanical neglect. It was an engine that forgave everything and kept going. What began as a practical solution turned into an icon of reliability, and it was not just the engine. The transmission, the brakes, the suspension, everything in the Dart was made to last. It was a car built for everyday use, without drama, without surprises. Whether you drove it on highways or on rough streets, the Dart stayed steady. with no strange vibrations and no unexpected noises. There was something almost therapeutic about driving it. You knew it was not going to fail. That year also cemented the Dart as the favorite of taxi drivers, street vendors, and families who wanted a reliable car without spending a fortune. Its fuel consumption was reasonable, its parts were plentiful and cheap, and every neighborhood mechanic knew how to open it up and make it run like new. It was a no-nonsense car that worked like an extension of the driver's wheel. 1971, Buick Lesabre. In 1971, when the American automotive industry was beginning to show signs of change, the Buick Lesabre arrived as a declaration of principles. In a decade torn between exuberant luxury and growing efficiency, the Lesabre of that year achieved the unthinkable. It combined comfort, presence, and indestructible mechanics. It was a car that spoke loudly, but with elegance, a gentle giant, a reliable colossus. That model marked the beginning of a new generation for the Lesabre. The design changed completely. A longer body, fluid curves, and a wide grille that looked like it wanted to embrace the road. There was nothing discreet about it, and yet every line carried intention and solidity. This was not a car trying to be sporty, it wanted to be eternal. And to achieve that, Buick did not cut corners where it mattered most: the heart. Under the hood, this Lesabre offered engines such as the 350 V8 and the imposing 455 V8, two beasts designed to last for decades. The torque was generous, the power delivery was smooth and almost silky, but above all, it was reliable. These engines were built with robust materials, oversized components, and a very clear philosophy: withstand time and use without drama. What was truly impressive was how Buick combined that brute strength with a driving experience that felt almost like floating. The Lesabre glided down roads as if it ignored its own weight. The suspension absorbed bumps as if they were not there, and the cabin insulation was so effective that the outside world seemed to disappear as soon as you closed the door. This model was especially popular with families who wanted space and durability, and also with frequent travelers who needed a car that could run for thousands of miles without asking for anything in return, and it delivered. Many units from 1971 are still on the road today, some in the hands of proud collectors, others driven by people who simply refuse to let them die. The Lesabre also had a quiet, almost noble character. It was not a car that tried to draw attention with noise or speed. Its impact was deeper, that of a vehicle that inspired confidence just by being parked in your driveway. And if you, watching this, ever rode in one, you know what I'm talking about. The smell of the interior, the metallic click of the doors, the deep purr of the V8 at idle, everything about it said, I am built to last, no matter what comes. And now tell us, did you ever travel in a Lesabre like this? Did your family own one? Or do you dream of having one someday? Leave it in the comments. Your memories help this community grow, and your stories are just as valuable as every model we show here. 1972 Ford F-100. If there was ever a vehicle that did not ask for applause but deserved them all, it was the Ford F-100. This pickup was not just a tool, it was a symbol, a declaration of what it meant to work hard, to endure, and to never be defeated by time. The last breath of the fifth generation, affectionately known as the bump side, marked a dignified and glorious farewell for one of the most respected trucks in American history. With its robust, almost square design, yet perfectly balanced proportions, the 1972 F-100 already carried the weight of a legend. Its raised front end, curved fenders, firm bumpers, everything about it shouted confidence. This was a vehicle you could find on farms, construction sites, remote towns, and city streets alike. Wherever there was work to be done, an F-100 was nearby. Mechanically, it was a rock. It came with inline six-cylinder engines like the 240 or the 300 cubic inch, true workhorses, and of course the V8s, such as the 360 or the 390, which delivered more strength than many small trucks. But beyond power, what defined this pickup was its durability. You could load it to the roof, drive it over ruined roads, leave it for days under rain or snow, and it would always start, always respond. One of Ford's great successes with this model was its mechanical accessibility. Everything was visible, understandable, repairable. Any mechanic with basic tools could keep an F-100 running like the first day, and that is what made it immortal. Many are still in service today, restored or not, proving that durability is not an advertising promise. It is a lived experience. 1973, AMC Hornet. In the world of American classic cars, the Hornet is like that quiet friend who never fails. It was not the flashiest, it was not the most popular in movies, and it was not the first to appear in catalogs. But in what really mattered, resistance, reliability, and mechanical practicality, the Hornet knew how to earn respect. And in 1973, it lived one of its most balanced years. This model was born as American Motors Corporation's direct answer to a question that lingered in the air. Can we offer a reliable, economical, and robust car without giving up design and solid engineering? The answer was a resounding yes. The Hornet was the spiritual heir of the AMC Rambler and carried with it that philosophy of well-thought simplicity and unpretentious efficiency. In 1973, the Hornet remained true to its essence. The new safety regulations had not yet completely transformed car design, so it kept its clean lines, sober proportions, and an aesthetic that today feels delightfully honest. Nothing about it was exaggerated, nothing was superfluous, and yet everything served its purpose perfectly. Mechanically, AMC offered engines ranging from the dependable 232 cubic inch inline six to the more powerful 258, along with some V8 versions that gave the Hornet surprising road performance. But beyond the numbers, what defined this car was its ability to work day after day, without failures, without drama, and without secrets. Its maintenance was simple, parts were abundant, and its structure had remarkable rigidity for the era. Many used it as a family car, others as a light work vehicle, and it even became part of government fleets. It was a car that adapted to whatever you asked of it, without complaint. And although AMC was not part of the Big Three, the Hornet proved that reliability did not depend on the size of the brand, but on the care with which each component was designed. That is why, today, it remains a respected car among collectors who value silent endurance over fleeting glamour. 1971 Chevrolet Impala. When you think of a classic American car with long lines, a powerful engine, and a reputation as solid as steel, it is impossible not to picture the Impala. That year marked the birth of a new generation, and with it, the absolute rise of one of the best-selling models in U.S. history. But this Impala was not just a pretty face with a lot of sheet metal, it was a true titan of mechanical reliability. The 1971 redesign brought even more generous proportions, a robust silhouette, and that wide, dominant front end that seemed to cut through traffic as if everything else had to move aside. The car was big, and it knew it. It radiated presence. It commanded respect. But behind that almost majestic bodywork was a mechanical setup that became synonymous with durability and strength. Chevrolet offered several engine options that year, but the stars were without a doubt the trusty V8s, the 350 cubic inch and the 400 cubic inch, both designed to deliver power without sacrificing longevity. These engines endured long distances, heavy loads, daily use, and they did it without missing a beat. With only basic maintenance, they rewarded owners with decades of loyal service. Some just refused to quit. The 1971 Impala was a success on every front. It was a family car, but also a highway cruiser. You could see it parked in front of a suburban home or devouring miles on the interstate. With its solid structure and smooth ride, it offered an almost perfect balance between comfort and toughness. Many chose it for what it represented, a complete car, without obvious weak points. Others simply because they knew they could count on it. Mechanics recommended it, parts were easy to find, and the engine was so noble that even after hundreds of thousands of miles, it still roared with dignity. There is something deeply American about the '71 Impala. It reflects a time when cars were more than transportation. They were part of your identity. Entire families grew up with one of these in the driveway. Long trips, vacations, first dates, winter mornings with cold starts. And there was the Impala, waiting. 1970 to 1979, Jeep Wagoneer. Before the word SUV became trendy, before family cars started to look like tanks with touchscreens, there was already a vehicle that did it all, and did it well. We are talking about the Jeep Wagoneer, especially the versions from 1970 onward. A true pioneer, an all-terrain machine with the utility of a truck, the comfort of a sedan, and the reliability that made many people never want to drive anything else again. The Wagoneer was not a fad. It was a practical and powerful solution to the real needs of families, rural workers, and adventurers. At a time when comfort and off-road lived in separate worlds, this Jeep brought them together in one vehicle. The result? One of the most forward-thinking cars of its time, and also one of the most reliable of the decade. Its foundation was a strong, resilient platform that traced its DNA directly to Jeep's military tradition. That gave it a structure solid as a rock. On top of that came inline-six engines, and more importantly, the 360 or 401 cubic inch V8s. These power plants were built to run endless miles on roads that were anything but kind. In fact, many Wagoneers crossed deserts, climbed mountains, and powered through storms without giving up. What was truly remarkable was how it blended that ruggedness with a comfortable, spacious interior, luxurious even by the standards of the time. While other utility vehicles were Spartan, the Wagoneer offered cushioned seats, air conditioning, AM/FM radio, and chrome details. It was strength with class, a rare combination in the 1970s that later became standard, in part because of the trail this Jeep blazed. Technically, it was easy to maintain. Parts were accessible, the construction logical, and its mechanical reliability was such that many units still run today, even without a full restoration. The amazing thing about the Wagoneer is that it was just as useful in rural backroads as it was in the suburbs, equally capable of towing a trailer or taking the kids to school. Pure versatility. And although the name Wagoneer later returned as a modern luxury SUV, those who know the story understand the essence lies in those 1970s SJ models, the ones that did everything without showing off. They were tough, noble, reliable. They were Jeeps, when being Jeep meant something deeper than just a badge. The Wagoneer of this era was not only one of the first SUVs as we know them today. For many, it was the best, because it was built to last, and because even now it reminds us that true greatness is not measured by screens and sensors, but by how many roads an engine can conquer without stopping. And now that we've gone through this list of true mechanical titans from the 1970s, tell me honestly, which one of these cars would mark your life if you could have it in your garage today? Which one did your family take on countless miles and unforgettable journeys? I invite you to comment right now. Share your story, your memory, or your opinion. Don't be a silent spectator. Join the conversation. And if you enjoyed reliving these 70s legends, don't miss the previous episode in this series, where we explored the most reliable cars of the 70s, 60s, the very ones that paved the way for this generation. Click now and keep traveling with us through engines, history, and pure emotion. See you there.